Good day everyone, my name is Preeti Shalini and today I will be sharing my understanding of differentiated instructions guided by the well-known quote by Carol Ann Tomlinson. She stated that differentiated instructions is not a set of strategies but a way of thinking about teaching and learning. For me, the quote holds a very deep meaning because it reminds us that teaching is not simply following techniques or steps. It is about understanding students as unique individuals and having the mindset to respond to their needs thoughtfully and intentionally. Differentiated instructions or DI is often misunderstood as something complicated or extra. In reality, it is a flexible teaching approach that focuses on tailoring what we teach, how we teach, and how we assess students based on their readiness, interest, and learning profiles. Tomlinson explains that teachers should continuously adjust content, process, product, and the learning environment so every student can progress meaningfully. This means that I, as a future educator, need to truly see my students for who they are, not as a single group, but as individuals with different strengths, experiences, and challenges. I believe DI starts with understanding the learners before planning the lesson. This is why, in my presentation today, I want to explain how Tomlinson's philosophy connects to four important components of differentiated instructions, which are readiness, interest, learning styles, and learning environment. These components help teachers make informed decisions when planning lessons, selecting activities, and supporting students. The first component is readiness. Readiness refers to a student's current level of knowledge and skill at the moment they begin learning a new concept. In every classroom, there will always be students who are ahead, someone who are in the middle, and others who need more support. Differentiation through readiness means adjusting the level of challenge to match where each student is. So the goal is not to make some students do easier work and others do harder work. The real purpose is to help all students work within their zone of growth. For example, if I am teaching an English lesson on reading comprehensions, I could provide different levels of text. Students who struggle might receive a simplified version of the same story, while advanced learners might work with a more complex version that deepens their understanding. They are all learning the same skill, but the path they take is different. Okay, so the second component is student interest. When students find meaning and connection in what they learn, they participate more actively and show higher motivation. Interest based differentiation helps students to develop a personal relationship with the content. As a teacher, it will be my role to learn what my students enjoy, what they are curious about, and what topics they relate to. For example, during a creative writing lesson, instead of assigning one fixed topic to everyone, I could allow students to choose their own theme, such as mystery, friendship, fantasy, or even real life experiences. When students write about something they care about, they are more willing to explore, think critically, and express themselves. Interest makes learning come alive. The third component is learning styles. It is well known that students learn in different ways. Some are visual learners who understand better through pictures, diagrams, and charts. Others are auditory learners who benefit from listening, discussions, and verbal explanations. There are also kinesthetic learners who learn best through movement, hands on activities, and physical involvement. As a future educator, it is important for me to design lessons that include a variety of approaches. For example, if I am teaching a science lesson on the water cycle, I could use diagrams for visual learners, group discussions for auditory learners, and a simple hands-on stimulations for kinesthetic learners. When a lesson offers multiple entry points, every student can engage with the topic in a way that supports their learning. The fourth component is the learning environment. This refers to the atmosphere, physical space, routines, and emotional climate of the classroom. A positive learning environment is one where students feel safe, respected, and comfortable expressing their ideas. Differentiation cannot happen effectively if students feel judged or afraid to make mistakes. Believe a good teacher creates a classroom where collaboration is encouraged, diversity is celebrated, and every student knows that their contribution matters. Even small adjustments such as flexible seating arrangements, group workspace, or displaying student work can help create an environment that supports engagement and confidence. A strong learning environment encourages students to take a risk and participate actively in their own learning. To show how these four components work together, I want to share a simple classroom application based on an English literature lesson on the topic of character development in short stories. If I were teaching this lesson, I would begin by assessing readiness. I would check whether students understand basic story elements such as plot, setting, and character. Students who need more support will receive guided worksheets or story maps to help them identify character traits. Students who are ready for more challenge could analyze the author use of symbolism or deeper themes in the story. Next, I would use interest to make the lesson meaningful. Instead of assigning one story to all students, I would give them a list of short stories from different genres. Some may prefer mystery, others romance, adventure, or drama. Allowing students to choose their text gives them ownership of their learning and increases their engagement. For learning styles, I will design different activity options. Visual learners could create character posters, auditory learners could present a short explanations or join a discussion, and kinesthetic learners could act out a scene from the story. Even though the activities are different, the learning objective remains the same to understand how characters change throughout a story. Finally, I would make sure the learning environment is supportive. Group activities would be structured to encourage teamwork, and I would establish clear expectation for respectful communication. When students know their voices are welcome, they contribute more confidently. Through this combination of readiness, interest, learning styles, and environment, the lessons become fair, meaningful, and inclusive for all the students. Reflecting on this topic has helped me better understand what kind of teacher I want to become. Differentiated instructions is not simply a method, it is an attitude. It reminds me that every child deserves to feel seen and supported. It also pushes me to think deeply about how to design lessons that respond to individual needs. I want to be a teacher who is flexible, reflective, and patient. I want to recognize that students are not the same and that their differences are not challenges but opportunities. Differentiation requires effort, creativity, and constant observation, but the reward is seeing students grow confidently and meaningfully. In conclusion, Carol Ann Tomlinson's statement is a powerful reminder that differentiated instructions is a way of thinking that values diversity and respects the learner. It challenges us to teach not only for the curriculum but for the students themselves. When teaching becomes personalized and intentional, learning becomes more engaging, more equitable, and more successful for every student. I believe that embracing this philosophy will help me to create a classroom that encourages growth, curiosity, and meaningful learning for all. Thank you so much.